Hey guys, Tiny here. So today I'm actually recording this intro after the video is finished, which is pretty weird because I usually do things in order, but I didn't have time for that. Today we're going to be trying to make the super viral unicorn cake, and I want to see if Tiny can try and triumph this trend. So let's get started. Okay, so off the bat, I want to let you know that I only had about 4 hours to make this cake. My friend texted me quite desperately to please make this cake, and I just could not say no. So I didn't have time to go out and purchase anything. I just grabbed whatever I had in hand. I actually ended up using one confetti box, two frostings, and some fondant. Now I divided my cake batter into 4 batches to use 4 different colors, which were blue, pink, purple, and yellow. And I used an 8-inch round pan to bake my cakes. However, because I only had one, baking alone took me about 2.5 hours. If you're worried at this moment because you're like, she didn't mention a brown cake, don't be, because that is the purple. I panicked for a second, but then I was like, you know what? This is just the golden from the pan. So once I cut it, it should be nice and bright. I use some of the frosting to stack up all the layers, and then I take some more frosting and just get another layer in on the top. I'm going to be using a spatula to smooth out the frosting, but using a spatula is pretty difficult because it leaves some ridges as you go along, so it does take a little bit longer to get it nice and smooth. Now, I'm going to use some of that icing to go around the cake and cover it as much as possible. Here, you can tell that I don't really use the turntable as much as I should because I am struggling. But you know what? It's okay. Practice makes perfect, and I will get it one day. So I'm just going around and I'm covering it as much as I can. I didn't want to use the spatula at this point, and I did find in my cabinet this tool, which is supposed to be a cutter, but it looked like a nice straight edge and it looked like it would fit the height of my cake. So I used this, and you guys, I'm probably going to use this forever because even with the second and third turn, look how nice and smooth and even it's already coming out. So next I roll out the fondant. Now I made a cake 2 days ago and I used half the box. So I only had half the box left. And I'm hoping that this is enough. So I'm here forever rolling out the fondant because you guys know that this is my least favorite part. I hate rolling out. I hate fondant. I think it's disgusting, but it looks so pretty. So I got it as thin as possible, just so that, you can't taste it as much. And I used a rolling pin to pick it up. Now, I realized that because my cake is so small, I can actually just pick it up with my hands and drop it on top. But this is a really neat trick. For bigger cakes, it makes it so much easier. So as I'm smoothing out the fondant, I know for a fact I did not let that cake sit long enough in the fridge. I just didn't have the time for it. But as I am smoothing it along, it is such a problem because it just doesn't smooth out as much as it should. So here I cut out 3 different circles. 2 for them are going to be for the eyes and 1 cut in half for the cheeks. I used the back of the star tip that I found to make them nice and circular. This is a plastic horn, and it is what I had. I could not make it out of fondant because I did not have enough fondant. However, if you want to learn how to make that horn, you can watch the video for last fall where I show you guys how to make a unicorn, and I show you how to make the horn out of Play-Doh. So pretty similar to fondant. Not edible, but you get the point. I grabbed pink, purple, and blue baggies and put the Ziploc bags in a piping bag, and it created this nice ombre, like gradient effect. And thank goodness that I found the star tip, because it actually looks pretty good. Now I realized as I'm making the little circles that I can't get circles into the whole front, so I make little dollops in between to kind of cover it up. So I do this, I drop some on the side, I put some on the back, and it's looking great. The bumps bother me a little bit, but I'll figure out a way to fix it by the end. Here I'm going to color the eyes, and I could not find food coloring, so the first thing that I found was this edible marker, and I just painted it with that. That was how that was done. However, I was able to do the pink food coloring for the cheeks. Now I'm going to add this little white shine, and I just cut that with a straw, and I used a coffee straw to cut one even smaller to make the details at the end. I used the yellow here to make little accents on the hair, and I'm so happy that I did that. I think it looks so pretty, and it elevates the hair so much more. I'm eyeballing where I'm putting the cheek here, because I'm trying to show you guys how to just put it on. It has a little bit of frosting. My brother's like, no, you need to move it 1/4 of a centimeter the other way. And I was like, I don't have a ruler. How much is that? So I just put it on, and it looks cute, guys. It doesn't have to be perfect. Right now, I'm like, oh my gosh, I did not make the ears. So I find some scraps of the fondant that were still on the table, and I just used that to make 2 triangles. I used some gold icing to add the detail, but I didn't have enough time to let them sit long enough in the fridge for them to harden as much as I would have liked. They're still a little soft, but they were hard enough that I could get them on the cake. It was a struggle though, so I suggest that you give yourself enough time to get them to harden so that they can just go right into the cake and stay. Thankfully, they did stay, but I was a little bit nervous. At this point, you see some imperfections towards the bottom because of the whole icing issue, but don't worry about it too much. We can just grab some of that icing and put some details, throw some sprinkles in there, make everything look nice, because sprinkle makes everything so festive. So we're just gonna throw some of that, and that's gonna cover the imperfections in the bottom and any little gaps that you have. And I think this cake, for such a rush and so limited things that we had, it came out beautiful. So if you are going to recreate this, even if you're a beginner baker, you can make a beautiful cake, learn from my mistakes, and I definitely think that this is a triumph.